What's going on, everybody? So you're probably going to see a different version of me later on in the video, mainly because I already shot this video, but basically more than halfway through I realized that majority of the talking point is out of focus. So kind of redoing this over again, but got me a chance to refine my discussion and my talking about what we're talking about today in terms of a product review, and that is this guy that is in here, which is the Neewer HS200c. This is a RGBWW light from Neewer, very similar in terms of design and somewhat performance to the G200 that Zhiyun came out a few years ago. Today I'm here to discuss what does this light do better, what does the Zhiyun Molus G200 do better, and help you guys make a practical and decisive decision should you be looking into investing into a 200-watt light that is portable, travel friendly, and probably one of the most flexible lights in terms of where you can position it. All that and more in today's video. What's going on, everybody? My name is James Jackson. If you're new here, I do tips, tricks, news, and reviews for the film and video making industry. So if this is content that you like, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell so you can stay up to date on all the content going forth. Now, I want to just start off with the box, showing you guys what you in here or what you get. Now, in terms of designs, the case is okay. It definitely has sort of this like canvas feeling that is a bit cheap, but it does be durable, and you feels like it can take a beating. And then here is, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but this is the layout of the light. Now, this layout I'm not a fan of. One, if you will see here, this is the controller box that comes with the light. There's pretty much, it's permanently attached, so I don't like that I have to always constantly apply pressure onto the cable itself. Not a fan of that. And also I don't like the way this light is laid in here, because it's a bit awkward to get the light out. So for Neewer, if Neewer is watching, if you guys are I'd really suggest redesigning the case to make it more practical, to where you don't have to worry about long-term durability of the cable, and also just keeping these separate so it's easier to pull these out. Now, this, as you guys can see, is the head of the light, and this right here is the control box of the light. And also you will get the cable that connects them together, which is automatically tied, and an AC unit out, which you can see right here. Now, if you guys are looking at this, you guys can probably tell this is very, very, very similar in design to the Molus G200 that Zhiyun came out quite a bit, only this one doesn't really have a handle that you can wear. This is basically, it's just a box right here. This light is cheaper, but I think it's only like 20 bucks cheaper. I'll leave links to all the pricing and availabilities in the description below. But there are some major differences between it. You do have the control box design similar to this, but there's a lot of things about this light that does better than the G200 from Zhiyun. The first thing is that this is an RGBWW light. RGBWW light, forgive me for that. Reason why that's big means you get more colors and you get more flexibilities in terms of colors output. But in terms of the CCT mode, the biggest advantage that you get is the fact that you get green and magenta correction. Meaning, long-term, over long periods of times, if you're using this, whenever the light starts shifting one color to the next, you can always correct it with the green magenta correction to get your proper white balance. With the Molus G200, you have no way of getting green and magenta correction. The other major differences is really on the control box side. If you notice, there is a 3-pin XLR at the bottom. That is actually a power pin where you can put in a 48-volt power supply, which means that if you've got something like a 26-volt power of terms of batteries, you can plug those in directly into this control box, and you can power the light from V-mount batteries, which you cannot do with the Molus G200. Build quality wise, I think the Molus G200 is a little bit better. It has stronger aluminum. However, this light is significantly lighter than the Molus G200. Whereas the Molus G200, if you see it for its weight, it's surprisingly heavy for its weight, but it's still a pretty great light. This is incredibly light. So if you're looking for something that's light and light as well as the compactness nature, this is a huge win for that, for this light. Now, there are some things that the Molus G200 does better, and the number one thing is output. So, number one, both of these have a boost mode. This boosts up to 280 watts. The Molus G200 boosts up to 300 watts when you put it in its boost mode. Now, to be fair, the fan noise on this light is significantly quieter on this light versus the Molus G200. I actually got a demonstration from the original video, and again, it's a bit out of focus, but just ignore it and just go for the fan noise test, which you can see right now. So this is the constant power. So I'm gonna play here so you could hear. And now I'm going to play the boost mode with the fan at boost mode so you can hear what is at that power. Keep in mind, again, the fan is literally like right next to my mic. So this is a very extreme test, but this is sort of give you an idea. Now back to things that are the advantages that the Zhiyun Molus G200 has. The number one advantage is output. So I have done a light output test, and I'm going to cut to that right now so you guys can see. All right, guys, let's talk about the output of the Neewer HS200, especially comparing it to Zhiyun's 200 watt lights. Now, unfortunately, I do not have the Molus G200 with me to make a comparison, but I do obviously have the Molus B200, and I figured this would be a relatively equivalent comparison, since I believe the design of the emitters of the Molus G200 and the Molus B200 are essentially the same. So let's take a look at that. And basically, I just sort of did a quick little dirty setup. This is not a scientific test per se, but there is some things that gave us some, that limits the variables. So I set up the Molus B200 as well as the HS200c with a tube modifier that I got from GVM. I'm actually going to talk about this modifier later because it's pretty dope. But I basically put it there because this allows me to use the reflectors, and I basically set myself up next to a black backdrop. And this is the way I tested the output using the Sony FX3 with Monitor Plus, which has a stop exposure tool similar to EL Zone. And basically I was able to monitor the stops this way. And from my testing, in every single time in any variable way I've tried, whether if it's using the individual reflectors that come with the different lights or using the same reflector light, the results were pretty much the same, which is that the Molus B200 was clearly anywhere between 2/3 to a full stop more powerful in terms of light output than the HS200. So anywhere between 67 to double the output of the light of the Neewer HS200. So in terms of output, the Molus B200 is the clear winner in all of this. And this little Type-C port that you see right here is actually DMX Control. So you can actually have DMX Control. So if you're one of those gaffers or stuff that has a lighting console and you use it off of DMX, you could actually operate this light off of DMX as well. I think there's both 8-bit as well as 16-bit channel controls on this light, which is awesome. So it's quieter, it's lighter, it has way more controls. You get green and magenta corrections. You get external powers that you can use off of this. The final advantage is that the price. This is actually cheaper, but Also, counter to that, the pricing is also not as much different than the Molus G200. The Neewer HS200c costs $310 on Amazon right now, and I believe the Molus G200 is going right now for like $322. So again, not that much of a price difference, but it is something of different. But this is not just going over comparisons and looking specs. We also want to sort of talk about my experience. Again, I've used these on several weddings at this point, mainly for covering the receptions, and I absolutely adore this light. It is easy to set up, again, because you got this, it's relatively light. I can lift this whole thing up, as you can see. It is a joy to work with. You can easily plug in, and again, if you have V-mount batteries that you can attach to a light stand like this, you can run it off of D-tap and 3-pin XLRs, and then you don't even have to worry about running cables, and you can move the light any way you see fit. And this, and if you get a good decent amount of battery, like a 250 watt V-mount 26 volt battery, you can power this for like what, over an hour, supposedly over an hour, which is pretty good. I've used it a few times since I'm getting ready with the groom, but more importantly, I've used this mainly in the reception, where during the toasts and also first dance and getting light. And actually, what I've actually enjoyed is actually putting it in its RGB mode and lighting up the dance floor with this light, because some of y'all probably know that sometimes either the DJ or someone's going to come to you and be like, hey, if you're in like the normal CCT mode, they're like, hey, can you turn the light off? They kind of want to, you know, have fun. What I found is that if you throw this in the RGB mode, typically I'll go with some of the cooler colors like blue or cyan or teal and magenta, and that way I have a good quality light with good amount of output, and I don't even use it at full output. I think most of the time I'm at like 50% of the power. The photographers love it, the DJs love it, because it gives a certain vibe and they enjoy that, and it doesn't feel like it's different than what the party's going to. So having that ability, the RGBWW capabilities, is a big win for me in terms of the shots I've done on weddings. And I guess I'll just go over some of the cons. Again, I kind of went over the cons. I don't really like how this cable right here is completely attached to the control box. I really wish this was we were able to have this separately, because I just feel like this is going to just get damaged over time, and it's not going to be fun. Now, a few things that I don't like about this light is, like, you can kind of see it, that as you go up and down in intensity, it shows like a stepping instead of be more smoother. And this is something that I'm not a fan. I wish the going up and down on intensities was a bit smoother. And then the last thing I want to talk about is trying to go to the modes and switching. It's annoying, because if you try to tap too fast, it doesn't respond. Sometimes you gotta kind of like give it a little pause and then switch between the different modes, because if you do this, like I just tapped right now, nothing happened. And then the last thing I don't like is that at least on the control box, there's no way to go to a specific menu quickly. So if you, for some reason, like all of a sudden knock yourself, oh, I knocked myself into the RGB light. Well, now I want to go to CCT. Well, now I got to cycle through all the different parts to get back to CCT mode. Now this is not the case with the app. If you're running it off the app, you can just go to whatever mode you want to, and you will be perfectly fine. Now, before I go, I want to sort of really quickly talk about this guy, which is the HB80C, which is the little brother to this guy, as you guys can see here. But the main difference is that, unlike having a control box on this one, this is all the power is right here on the light itself. So this is essentially the light, so this is really cool, because you don't have to worry about running cables or anything. You can run it right off of the power right here. Now, it says 80C, which you would think this is 80 watts. The 80 watts only works is if you are given external power, and it has to be at least 100 watt Type-C cable. So you can only power this via Type-C, and the cable and the power that you got to give it have to be able to deliver 100 watts of power. Now, if you guys have been following me and you know about my INU power banks, I absolutely love those. I would highly recommend, if you're going to use that, get one of those, because those guys they are 100 watt power lights, and they will deliver 100 watt power. So you can plug that right into here and you will get the full power, and it would also charge. So if you want to go into that boost mode and get that full 80 watts, you can. Otherwise, it's going to be around the 65 watts. Now, a few quick things is that I personally like same things. I wish the control system was a little bit better, different. I like this a little bit better because at least I got this other dial that I can sort of drive and make adjustments. Everything on this one is sort of drive from this little thumb tap, which can be annoying, but again, you can also use the app. Now, I've used this guy for my decor shots at weddings, and I've also used this as to bounce off for my fill lights, which just makes just perfectly capable. And also, if I ever need to boom something high and I gotta put a softbox on it, this is the guy I kind of typically go with because it's just easy to set up. And then finally, I'm going to just talk really quickly about this guy right here. This is the Neewer TL38C. I love these guys. This guy is only like 35 bucks. But it's very similar to a lot of these other ones. Again, it is a full RGB light, just like everything we've had here before. This also has DMX Control Capabilities, has green magenta corrections, just like everything else here. It is actually pretty powerful. I use these, you've seen me, I use these all the time for my talking heads. They're usually here as my hair lights. I actually use these both on weddings and as well as on a dock recently, where I've used these as to bring up some uplighting on the dock during some interviews that I did. And then I actually use this light solely as a silhouette light that I use for an evening shot I did for a wedding couple at a wedding that I did. The beauty about this is that I got this little guy right here, but you'll see they're magnetic as well, so you can stick these to anything, and they're pretty strong magnets as well. So yeah, these are only $35. I've got 3 of these, and I can stack them up, or I can put them. There's a lot of tube lights, and Neewer actually has even bigger tube lights than this. I personally just went with these because it's just really easy to throw some uplighting to break up a scene in a shot. Really easier with these, because you can hide these a lot more and make them part of the scene, versus using a bigger tube, which is going to be much harder to hide in your scene. And these still get out quite a bit of life. Again, if you want something to just break up your scene, it's so much easier to hide a little light like this. No problem. And they charge really quickly. They last forever. They got quarter 20s on both sides. Absolutely love. I think we're gonna do more. I'm gonna have more exclusive videos on this, but I kind of wanted to just show you guys what Neewer is doing right now. And they're somebody that's not really being talked about a lot in terms of their lighting equipment, but I'm quite impressed with their lighting equipment. So if you guys are interested in purchasing any of these lights, I'm going to leave links to where you can order these lights down in the description below. Mainly the best deal you're going to get is off Amazon. So if you guys are used to just ordering, taking my links off B&H, I would just recommend Amazon, because Amazon, you can probably get them for cheap. A lot cheaper, and you can save yourself a couple more bucks. So this is my video on the Neewer HS200c, as well as introducing Neewer's line of lights. Hopefully this video was very informative to you. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. And as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, take care, everyone.